The universe has brought us
a new Darktide update.
What?
We've not only got ourselves a nice new update to play around with, some silly Spanish journalists have broken NDA to release a work-in-progress insight into the much-anticipated Itemization rework. It's a win-win for those who continue to enjoy being dumped into the bowels of Tertium, and for the Darktide Doomer crowd, who have most likely run out of zero-context dev blog quotes to spam on the forums. Thankfully, Fatshark has not only scrambled to stamp a massive asterisk on the leaked screenshots, they've also developed a method of garnering interest for the update in a way that won't be taken as a joke.
now that's not good.
The many secrets of the Machine God include 4 completely new weapon types, a mysterious still Factorum, and a new in-mission character who could very well be Grendel himself, or an Eldar, or my favourite theory, 4 ratlings stacked on top of each other. Not much else could explain how this man so casually strolls into a giant death fridge to guide a bunch of toddlers with bad trigger discipline. As someone who hasn't read enough Eisenhorn novels to fully appreciate the bolt pistol, my attention was definitely dead set on getting the biggest pickaxe variant possible. The most unwieldy being the Bronx, designed only for the hands of our Ogryn pals. With attacks delayed longer than most Darktide news, there's enough time for a Poxwalker to give your shins a good smack during the wind-up, and even more time to admire the absurd ragdoll that happens afterwards. Ogryn is the Unga Bunga class, although unlike most of his weapons, you actually need a very high IQ to understand the pickaxe moveset. Coming in with slide attacks, the good old push and swipe bashes into horde clearing heavies, the Bronx combos maybe feel like I was learning a bloody For Honor character, and yet when those neurons slowly and painfully connect, you have something special on your hands. Play around with all the variants and it won't take long for you to realise that each of them are versatile enough to handle anything the game throws at you. They could have a bit more reach for being the same length as an entire Ogryn, but personally I find it manageable. As long as I can still hit the Chaos Spawn who just chucked me through a wall, I'll be fine. Nothing says 40k like a barely altered version of a gun invented in 1875. The double-barreled shotgun has become a staple, something that I always associate with fun, and in Darktide is no different. Roll of Cool doesn't stop me from letting down the Auric team, but it does help forget just how few special enemies would turn to paste before I went down. Also here's me instinctively trying to do a Force of Nature jump on some random appliance, in case you forgot you're watching someone who has no idea what he's talking about. Let's hope someone smarter can build this thing so that it can kill stuff past 2 meters, and until I see proof, I'll keep shooting muties within high-five distance. Single target smite on a stick is a sentence that can put the fear of the Emperor into any experienced player expecting contribution in a horde shooter. Shockmauls come with an entire moveset to complement this ability. For example, the infinite strike down heavy chain designed to help you forget that you have a special in the first place. Lastly, the weapon fans have been hooting and yelping for is the bolt pistol, an iconic piece of the 40k pie, marking the first time Darktide has gotten a weapon that will make your friends say, "Yeah, I'm definitely coming back for this one." As expected, it's essentially a mini bolter with high mobility, less damage, and a lot more potential to sprint around missing every shot using the run and gun blessing, which has unfortunately become my entire playstyle now because of the amount of sway my poor zealot's wrists have to battle every time I ADS. Clandestium Gloriana is our new playground this patch, a sandbox for weapon testing and harsh lessons for people with red or yellow colorblindness, or anyone really. From what I can tell, the barrier of entry to make moebian steel never came in the form of sacred rituals or erratic imperial logistics, rather a thin metal stairway covered in banana peels and explosives. Since simply dropping you off straight into the mechanicus foundryplex would be too easy, you'll be taking this scenic route every time, until you reach this spectacular room of doom. A mid-event of sorts built to test your reaction speed and capacity to retain friendships after 20 or so resets. As for what happens afterwards, I'm not sure. I'll let you know when I make it past the event. In this mission, the rejects are joined in person by Swagger, a strange fella who follows you around making pompous observations, in stark contrast to the other Inquisition spies who exist on Tertium to have the worst time of their life for our amusement.
Get me out of this hell!
Swagger feels like the kind of goofy, untouchable 40k character built to plague our Voxcoms for the foreseeable future. He holds his own in conversations with Hadron, as well as Rannick, dropping vague comments about Grendel and less than subtle insults about the Interrogator's ability. As such, it would not be completely wacko to speculate that Swagger is just another one of Grendel's estranged operatives doing out-of-pocket Inquisition stuff. In any case, he seems above the Imperium's bullshit, a here-for-the-ride kind of guy who I look forward to seeing in upcoming content. Swagger's whole reason for appearing in the first place is to provide us with a little motivation to explore the lost Factorum. It is said that after killing a few thousand heretics, the reactivated foundry will pop out a shoebox-sized slab of true moebian steel. As the fruit of your labours is slowly belted off into a Valkyrie, it's the perfect time to stop and wonder how much of this precious resource will be used to instantly butcher the comically large pickaxes we managed to roll on Blunt's armory, or if we'll even see it again. We're left with no option but to brave the catwalk once more, which is fine honestly. Think about all those times you were in an elevator or checkpoint. You can't, because there's nothing awe-inspiring about a copy-paste wall of metal. Clandestium Moebian Gloriana is Fat Shark's way of saying, fine, here's your bloomin' snowmat and variational end events too. It's a real upgrade, or at least a breath of fresh air, and because it's new ground for both the rejects and heretics, it's just as dangerous for them as it is for us. It can be argued that the Machine God had a few other secrets beyond the new map, like a Rager stealth buff that wasn't communicated immediately upon patch release day. If you're watching Fat Shark, don't break a sweat trying to type up the lost notes next time. I've already worked hard on making a draft for you guys. The stuff that was actually put in the notes mostly boils down to minor but welcome changes to maps and weapons. For instance, I had a good go with the new power maul, but I can't tell you how good it is since I'm so used to one-shotting everything with the Barovian pickaxe that my sense of balance has gone out the window. The new smelter is now more or less complex, depending on your perspective, and to soothe the embarrassment of that pun, I'm going to pull up the 6 new Darktide tracks Jesper slapped on YouTube. If we ignore the Darktide music carries the game joke I've used far too often, and say that despite my abrasive remarks about this patch that I've thoroughly enjoyed myself so far, then I can finally get to the not so good things part of the video. The very first thing I did in the patch was run to the weapon vendor to check if the pickaxes were already on rotation. I was incredibly lucky and found this borderline god roll stat distribution on a Bronx pickaxe. I can tell you and show you that I was not so lucky in the Hadron department. Trying to roll anything decent whenever some new weapons drop just reinforces to me how brilliant this system is. I've already mentioned before, so it won't come as a surprise that some details about itemization have already been leaked. The real dev blog highlighted something about sending Hadron back to mechanicus school to learn how to craft, as well as mastery features possibly being added. All I really paid attention to was that we're going to be forming an actual relationship with the weapon, whatever that means. A lot of it looks very work in progress, and it seems like Fat Shark will have their work cut out for them to get the update done anytime soon.
But that's just my interpretation of this footage. I wasn't there.
Coincidentally, they released another blog not long after to say they're going to be taking it slow for a hot minute. It's nice that the entire country of Sweden received a holiday so that game developers can finish Elden Ring DLC. I only hope that we can get itemization in a semi-reasonable time frame, because if their build is as bad as mine, we're going to be waiting a bloody long time.